Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Daniel Midson-Short. Welcome back to episode number 13 of Self Improvement Saturday. Number 13, lucky number 13. Wow, we made it this far, my friends. I do have a habit of starting new projects and then tapering off soon after, but I'm excited and I'm proud that I'm sticking with this one. I'm trying my best. I've got YouTube live over here and I've got Instagram live here. And I'm trying to figure out how I can kind of look at both at the same time. It's not easy. So I think I'm going to look up here. Apologies to my Instagram friends, but we will look here and then hopefully you can get a feel for how I might put you over here. Hey, there we go. That might work a bit better. All right. Yes. Self-Improvement Saturday, episode number 13. I'm excited to be back. It's great to be here. Lots has been happening. Big life changes for Daniel. And yeah, I'm excited to share them with you. Today's topic is going to be around how to be more present in life, which is something that I have been thinking a lot about. I've been trying to do, and it's had great benefits for me. So I'm going to share that with you today. Hopefully it's of use. And we'll get into that in a minute. But before I do, I would like to share a huge life update that happened about 2 weeks ago. And that is that Lauren and I got married. So we had a very intimate, small wedding ceremony here in California. A very good friend of mine is a celebrant, and he did the ceremony. And then one of Lauren's best friends was the witness, which sounds weird, but that was what we decided to do, just the four of us. And it was a beautiful day. It was wonderful. It was very heartfelt. And I'm so grateful and so in love, so happy. And apologies to anyone who finds that a bit schmaltzy or gross, but that's how I feel. And it was a long, long time coming to meet the right person in my life and to feel an amazing connection like I do. So I'm incredibly grateful and very aware of the wonderful relationship that we have. And I wish the same for you, my friend. Whoever you are watching this right now, I know that you may or may not have that in your life, but I promise you, if you keep persisting, you will find the right person, and love is available for you. As corny as that might sound, I'm now the kind of person who I wanted to punch about 5 years ago. The person who says, when the time is right, you'll meet the right person. I used to think, oh, shut up. Now I am that person. So yeah, it's possible, but it does take persistence. It does take believing that it's out there, and it will come for you. So yes, all that to say, we had an amazing wedding ceremony. It was wonderful. And our life together is just as wonderful as it was before. And now we're enjoying the idea of being husband and wife, which is incredible to say. So yeah, here we go. I got my wedding ring, and I'm a married man, which is amazing. So that is the big life update that's been happening or has happened. And I'm very grateful. And on top of that, I've been working away. I've been traveling a little bit, running events and working on different things for my blog and different things like that. So there's a lot of things in the works, as well as potentially writing a book, which is one of the reasons I'm doing the topic I'm doing today. So there's a lot of cool things happening, especially moving into 2024. We're getting towards the end of 2023. It's the fall now. It's a beautiful time of year. And yeah, there's a lot of exciting things happening as well. So we will see what 2024 brings, but I'm excited about the prospects that I have in mind. With that in mind, let's kick off today's topic. Let's talk about how to be more present in life. I think this is one of the modern maladies that we all deal with in some respect, that it's very difficult to be present and to be in the moment in whatever we're doing. For whatever reason, society has shifted. Well, not for whatever reason, because of technology, really. Society has shifted a great deal. You notice everywhere you go, people's heads are buried in their phones. I'm aware some of you are probably watching this on a phone, so I'm not criticizing that, but it's a reality of how we live today. And a lot of us just aren't present. We aren't in the moment as much as we would have been 50, 100, 200 years ago. That's not our fault. It's just a byproduct and a reality of having so much availability of technology. I think that is really something that we're kind of a victim of. As much as it brings huge advantages, and I'm a big fan of technology, I wouldn't be speaking to you right now if it wasn't for technology. But I think there is the downside of it creates a lot of distraction, a lot of detachment from reality, and also what I call non-presence, which is what I'm going to talk about. So let's get into it. That idea of non-presence is something I've been thinking a lot about lately, and it really is the label that I've put on the way I think a lot of us live, including me. A lot of us live today. We fall into this habit and this trap of being non-present. I really couldn't find a word better than that to describe what I notice in myself and people around me. Very often we fall into the trap of what we might call distraction or detachment or whatever it is. But really, what it is a lack of presence. It's a lack of being here right now in what you're doing. We're physically here, but our heads are somewhere else. We're thinking about something, we're kind of planning, or we're scheming, or we're worrying, or whatever it is. And maybe we're distracted by some sort of media. We're not really present in the moment where we are right now. It's a sense of non-presence that kind of emanates through a lot of the world. I always think of if you ever travel on public transport and you look at everybody, everyone's got headphones in, everyone's on their phone or whatever. No one is really just present in the moment experiencing it. Again, no, not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, do you just want to sit on public transport trying to be present the whole time? Maybe not, but you can feel that idea that there's all these people in this one place and none of them is really present. They're kind of distracted, they're detached, they're in a state of non-presence in a way. So that's what I think we experience a lot of the time today. Again, not necessarily just our fault, but it is something we fall into as a habit. So I wanted to share that with you and encourage you to notice it. When you're out and about, notice how few people are actually present, how few people are actually right where they are mentally, emotionally, even spiritually, which we're going to talk more about later in this episode. What are the benefits of being present? I think that there are several, and I wrote some of them down today. I've got my notes as always. There's different benefits that I've noticed of being present in your life and practicing the art of mindfulness, or being here now, whatever you want to call it. The first is that you have richer experiences. You really notice and you feel a lot more when you try to be present. As I mentioned just previously, a couple of weeks ago, I got married. And I was very aware that day to be present. Yes, there's a lot of things that go into getting married, and there's stress and there's worry and there's a lot of dynamics. But I was very determined to be present from the moment it started and to be with Lauren and to be in that moment. And because of that, the experience was so much richer for me. I can really feel the emotions that I had then. I can remember what the weather was like that day, how it felt holding hands, looking her in the eye, all the sounds and every emotion. It was very visceral for me. And that's because I was present in the moment. I was aware to be like that, and that created a richer experience. Contrast that to what a lot of people experience on their wedding day, because they're dealing with a lot of different family dynamics or problems or things like that. And they tend to say they don't remember any of it. It was just a blur that just flashed by. There were so many things happening. They don't remember any of their own wedding day until they look at photos or videos and they go, oh yeah, that's what happened. They weren't actually there emotionally and intellectually and spiritually. They weren't there. And that was something I was determined not to have happen. And so that richer experience was there because of that. In anything you do, that is available to you. That sense of, wow, I am actually here in this moment. And there's a sense of joy that comes from that. That's the big thing that I notice is when you have richer experiences, when you're present, you tend to have a lot more joy in your life as well. So that's what I think the benefit is. The other one is that, like kind of I just alluded to, you have greater memories as well, because you can look back and you can feel what it was like to be there in that moment. You can kind of relive it in a more vivid way. And that's what I think really is the benefit of being present. Not only do you have more joy and a richer experience at the time, but when you look back and you revisit that for yourself, you really can feel what you experienced again. And my friends, that's really what life's about, is experiencing in the moment. And then if you do look back on your life in some way and you reflect, realizing that you actually lived it, you were there. as profound and as deep as that might sound, that's really the benefit of presence. There's a lot of interpersonal benefits as well that I'm going to talk about a bit later. But really, if you can just think about the times in your life that were the most profound, the most enjoyable, the most rewarding, probably there were times when you were the most present. So I'd encourage you to think about that and try to bring more of that into your everyday. That's something I've been doing recently, and it has made a big impact on how I've felt and how I've experienced life. Let's now talk about 4 different ways that I believe that you can be present in your life, more present in your life. All of us are present to an extent, but I think especially as we grow into adults, we start to lose that ability because we have a lot of things that we have to deal with. You have responsibilities, and we have relationships, and we have social hierarchies, and we have the environment that we have to manage, and all these different things that make our lives very complex, and they tend to force us into our head because we're constantly strategizing and planning and scheming and defending ourselves and all these things, and we forget to actually just be present. So in the next section, I want to talk about 4 different ways that you can actually bring back more presence in your life. And they are physical, emotional, interpersonal, and spiritual. Ooh, spiritual. So we're going to talk about that as well. All right, let's start with the physical presence. This is something that is very simple to do, but right now, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, if you're watching this, experience feeling your feet on the ground. Just feel that for a moment. You can feel your feet touching the ground. That is bringing you back into the present. Next, experience the feeling in your hands, whether you're holding a phone right now or you're sitting at a desk or whatever you're doing or wherever you are. Just experience the feeling of holding your device in your hands or your hands resting on a computer or whatever it is. Notice the physicality of it. Another great way to do this is to take in a big, deep breath. Feel the physicality of your lungs filling with air. Another excellent way is to just notice the temperature in the room or the ambient sounds around you. All these things are physical sensations, and they will help you to come back into the moment. They're probably the fastest way that I know to bring yourself back into a sense of presence and to feel good about yourself. So this is something I've done a lot over the last couple of months as I've been repracticing my ability to be present, is if I find myself getting too heady, too focused on what's in here, I just say, okay, what's around me? What's the temperature right now? What are the sounds? Can I feel any sensations physically in my body? Do I need to adjust my posture a little bit? Yes, I always do. Is there things that I can do to be more physical in the moment? If you notice children, they are very physical in everything that they do. So we can kind of capture that and revisit that in our lives and get back more into our bodies and the physical environment, and that will bring you a sense of presence. That's the most base level I've noticed. The next level is emotional presence. And this one in particular, I think today we're taught to not express or experience our emotions very much. In previous episodes of Self-Improvement Saturday, I talked about negative and positive emotions and how we experience those in our lives. And I'd encourage you, if you haven't, to go and check out those episodes, because this will do a deep dive into each of those different types of emotions. But really what I would say, the core message is, just experience what you're feeling. Very often we dull that feeling, we bury it, we try and ignore it. But the thing with emotions is the more you ignore them, the more they keep bubbling back up, the more they arrive back in your life at times you don't want them to. So if you're feeling anger or sadness or anxiety or feeling depressed or whatever it is, if you don't experience that emotion when it comes up in you, it will come back worse in the future if you keep ignoring it or suppressing it. And it's the same with positive emotions. If you dull the joy that you have in your life, you don't laugh, you don't express love and feel great about yourself, all those things, you will have less of a rich, rewarding experience. So as touchy-feely as this might sound, especially to all the guys out there who might be watching this, experience your emotions. If you're feeling sad, feel sad. If you're feeling angry, feel angry. If you're feeling love, feel love. Whatever it is, just feel that emotion in the moment, and it gives you more of that sense of presence. And it also colors and enriches your experience. So whatever it is that you're experiencing emotionally is a part of your presence. So go into it, use it, and let yourself be in that emotion as long as you need to. Interestingly, what I've noticed is, especially with negative emotions, if you let them come up and you experience them, you don't have to act on them, but you just experience the feeling of the emotion, whether it's sadness or anger, anxiety, whatever it is, it starts to dissipate very quickly. It's kind of like a wave. So, whatever you are feeling right now, feel it. Be emotionally present, and you'll find that it gives you an enriching feeling in your life. The third type of presence is interpersonal, or you might say person to person presence. This one I think is crucially important today because so many of us are starved for attention and acknowledgement and just the presence of other people. We tend to live in our heads, live in our phones, whatever we're doing. We don't just connect with other people one to one or in groups. There's a defense mechanism that comes up where we kind of stay distant in some way. By far, the most rewarding relationships you have are the ones where you're the most present and aware and in the moment with people. Those really strong bonding experiences that you've had, it's because you've been in the moment with someone, you've connected emotionally, intellectually, and you've really been with them there in that moment. So, whatever it is you're doing in your life, whether it's at work, whether it's with friends or family or whatever, I would encourage you to just be aware of the other person, not creepily stare at them or anything like that, but just experience what it's like to be with that person. Listen to their words, tune into their emotions a little bit, and just be with them. Doesn't mean you have to say anything. You can just listen and experience what they're going through. Something I've tried to do more of recently, which I'm very bad at, but I'm trying to do more of, is just pause before I reply to someone. So if they're telling me something, something's important to them, just give it a moment. Don't say anything back. Just give them room in case they want to say more, and also just to experience what they just shared with you. Sounds kind of woo-woo in a way, but this really enriches every connection that you have, is just being in that moment with that person, really listening to them, and then experiencing what they're giving you emotionally. The more you sync your emotions with theirs, the more you will feel that sense of connection. And as a reward, what I've noticed is as I've done this more with people, I've really started to bond with them. I've had a better sense of connection than I had in the past because I'm with the person I'm with. As crazy as that sounds, when I'm physically with a person, I'm mentally and emotionally with them as well. And that makes a huge difference when you're communicating and connecting, and it enriches your relationships incredibly. So that is interpersonal or person to person presence. Really valuable and something I'd encourage you to try in your life today if you can. And the fourth way that we can be more present in our lives is spiritual presence. And this is something that I'm just starting to learn about. And I know we all have different kind of religious beliefs and spiritual perspectives. So I'm not meaning to tread on anyone's toes here. But I think at the same time, we can all kind of agree that we are, in a sense, we are all one, whether we all have a soul or we're all energy or whatever you want to say. There's a sense of all of us being very unified and very much the same. And you can stack any kind of religious beliefs on top of that you like. But at the base, I think you can agree that we all have a consistent kind of connection out there in the ether. I'm trying to be as broad as I can while also sounding very wise and spiritual. But yeah, let's just say we're all a bunch of souls experiencing life at the same time. If you tune into that in the moment and you see the people around you, particularly people you don't know, as also being human, as also having a soul, as also being part of the same energetic oneness, or whatever you want to say, you will find that it changes your presence. You will find that you're more aware of the connection you have with everyone in the world. And without getting too woo-woo or into this, I think this is one of the biggest missing components of life today because we are so technological and so rational that we forget that we are all one. We are all connected in this crazy life experience that we're going through. And that really is the value, is the connection, is the synergy that we all have together. So wherever you can, if you want to, and if you are a spiritual person, which is something I'm sort of slowly learning more about, tune into this sometimes, especially in big public places where there's a lot of people rushing around. Sometimes I'll just say, you know what? We're all connected. Everyone here is on the same life journey in their own way. And we're all connected to this big, crazy cosmos or this energy or this soul platform or whatever you want to call it in the same way. And that gives you a different sense of who you are and how you live when you go to that level of understanding and that level of presence. So I don't want to delve too deep into that one because I'm still learning it, but I think it is a profound way to experience the world, is to see that we're all one and that you can be more present to that in your life in your own ways. So those four ideas, the idea of physical presence, the idea of emotional presence, the idea of interpersonal presence, and the idea of spiritual presence, all those four things are really profound in their own way, and they all bring a lot of dimension to your life if you choose to lean into them and be aware of them, really. And I would encourage you to try a couple of them out for yourself. See where there's ways that you can be more present in your life. As I mentioned at the beginning of this, really the presence is the reward in itself. Really, in a way, just experiencing life in a more rich way, that actually is the gift of life. That's the true reward and joy of everything that we do. So, my friend, I hope that these ideas have been insightful for you. And I would be curious to know if you want to type below in the chat or in comments on the video here, what are the ways that you've experienced more presence in your life? And how has that given you more reward, more benefit in your life? And with that, I will leave you in a sense of presence. I hope that that's been insightful for you. And yeah, I'd encourage you to be more present in your life. All right, my friends. Well, that is everything that I have to share today. Thank you to those of you on Instagram. Great to see you there. And hello to those of you on YouTube. We've got a little bit of a crowd here. Hello, friends. Great to have you all here. I hope that this has been insightful. As I mentioned in the beginning of this episode, I am currently in the process of brainstorming writing a book. So this is going to be one of the chapters. It's based on the TEDx talk that I did many years ago. I'll talk about it in future episodes as well. But for now, I'm starting to put components of this together. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, I'm going to drop an article link in the chat here. That is basically exactly what I talked about today. It's probably going to be one of the chapters of the book, but I'm testing out how to write this and also sharing it in different formats. So that is basically everything I have for today. It's so wonderful to have everyone here. It's great to be back. And yeah, I think that this is something that we can all really benefit from if we be more present in our lives. And we have a comment here from Jamie Lynn, reminding myself, what should you be doing right now instead of just drifting through the day? Jamie, that is so, so true. What is important now? What should I be doing? And even not should, I would say just what are you experiencing? What's valuable to you? Framing it that way really, really helps. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's great. Well, thank you, my friends. It's great to have you here. Those of you on Instagram and those of you on YouTube, it's so wonderful to be back. We will return next weekend. Next weekend is self-improvement episode number 14. This is Daniel Midson-Short. I appreciate you all. Thank you for being here. Have a wonderful, present, rewarding day, and I'll look forward to chatting to you soon. So thanks for watching. And as I always say, thank you for improving yourself.